It's November 2015. The state of Colombia set upon an archaeological mission led by a team of anthropologists and historians. They stopped near the Rosario Islands, where they sent an unmanned submersible down to the sea floor. For hours, the little submarine was scurrying around the seafloor, capturing images of scattered gold coins and ceramic pottery, when suddenly the famous hull of the most coveted shipwreck of all time appeared, the San Jose.
Sin lugar a ningún tipo de duda, hemos encontrado el Galeón San Jose.
The richest treasure cargo ever to have been lost at sea, with an estimate worth of $17 billion. Now, the location is known, this treasure is worth billions, but yet, a decade later, the excavation has not yet started, and the discovery brought a whole lot more to the surface.
But American company says it discovered the wreck in the 1980s. They're now suing Colombia, seeking half the value of the fortune.
Spain says, look, this was my ship. You were only a colony.
Indigenous people from Bolivia say they're entitled to it too because their ancestors were enslaved to mine that gold.
So, who truly owns this legendary treasure? This is the holy grail of shipwrecks, with Hindsight. So, $17 billion sounds like a lot of money, but it's really just a drop in the bucket when it comes down to all the wealth that's floating around in art and in collectibles. Ultra high net worth individuals are estimated to own $2.1 trillion worth of art, and this number is expected to rise to 2.8 in the next few years. This market used to be reserved only for the ultra rich, but thanks to today's sponsor, Masterworks, this is becoming available for you and me. For years, Masterworks' art investing platform has been helping everyday investors diversify part of their overall portfolios into blue-chip contemporary art. Every year, there are billions of dollars transacted in the global contemporary art market, and of that sum, over $60 million in total investor proceeds have been distributed back to people like us. And they make it really easy. Masterworks breaks their purchased paintings into shares. You don't need to have any art expertise, and you get your potential return through several exits, of which there have been 23 so far. So if you think that this could potentially be for you, you can join one of their 900,000 members that are already checking out Masterworks. Use the link in the description for priority access right now and see if art investing is a fit for you. I want to thank Masterworks as a sponsor because it's really because of their support that I can make independent videos like these. So let's get back to the video. Spain's colonization of the Americas started in 1593. Their main mission was to grow the Spanish economy and power, and they extracted massive amounts of gold and silver from their new colonies, using their famous galleons. But by the beginning of the 18th century, King Charles II passed away without leaving a clear successor. This escalated into one of the most significant great power conflicts in history, the War of the Spanish Succession. Spain's new king badly needed the gold and silver, and he sent a convoy to the New World. At the head was the most formidable ship of the Spanish treasure fleet, the San Jose. The flagship galleon was a massive 3-mast vessel measuring over 45 meters or 150 feet in length, and it was armed with 64 dolphin-engraved cannons. In late 1708, after loading the ship with almost 200 tons of treasure, the San Jose began its voyage from Panama's port city of Portobelo. It was heading to Spain, but the captain decided to make a quick stop in Cartagena. And during his voyage, he got word that the British might try an ambush. But despite the risk, he decided to forge ahead. A few days later, the San Jose was reaching Cartagena, and they saw a British fleet approaching on the horizon. They had no chance to escape them, and a battle for the treasure commenced. The British and the Spaniards were drawing fire constantly, and both sides quickly realized this would not be a quick battle. It lasted for the entire afternoon and went well into the night. But then the British heard a huge explosion and felt a blast of a strong heat wave. as they looked over through the smoke, they could barely make out the San Jose erupting into a ball of fire and quickly sinking to the bottom of the Caribbean Sea, forever taking with it its 600 crew and its priceless cargo. For 300 years, treasure hunters, historians, and archaeologists have been trying to locate the Spanish galleon, but none had the means to find it. And just when everybody thought it was going to remain hidden in legend, in 2015, Colombia happened to send its submarine down in exactly the right location. The footage from the submersible was showing China tableware and ceramic and porcelain pottery scattered across the seabed. It was distinctive enough that scientists could not only date it to the exact right time period, but they also confirmed that the San Jose did carry these items on board. Another thing that the footage clearly captured was gold ingots and silver and gold coins that had the Spanish insignia engraved in them, putting them around and before the time that the San Jose sank. As the submersible was drawing close, the scientists saw the hull of the Spanish galleon resting on the sea floor. The size and the shape matched exactly what they were looking for, and suddenly the images of the ship's distinctive bronze cannons came into view. Clear as day, the footage was showing the dolphins engraved on the bronze, an emblem that only one ship in the Spanish fleet ever had, the San Jose. The 300-year search was over, and one of the most important ships in history was finally seen again.
Uno de los más grandes hallazgos en la historia de la humanidad.
Last year, the former president of Colombia said he wanted the treasure and archaeological remains brought to the surface.
But American company Sea Search Armada says it discovered the wreck in the 1980s, making a deal with Colombia to get half of the value in exchange for the coordinates. They're now suing Colombia, seeking half the value of the fortune.
SSA, or Sea Search Armada, is a US-based company that specializes in locating shipwrecks. It has been active for over 50 years, and in 1979, they made a deal with none other than the state of Colombia for locating the San Jose. Their agreement was that they would split the treasure 50-50 if they were to be successful. In 1981, SSA began searching an 1,100 square kilometer area off Cartagena, hoping that they would find something belonging to the San Jose. After hours of searching, they stumbled upon a cannon and a few pieces of wood from a ship, but no galleon. They concluded that these might belong to the San Jose and that somewhere in this area, Colombia should conduct a search party and potentially find the famous shipwreck. But then a few years later, the Colombian government passed a law giving the state all ownership rights to anything found in their territorial waters, leaving just a 5% finder's fee to the companies that did the searching. SSA felt that this was tailor-made to renege the original deal, so they took Colombia to their own courts, demanding the full share of the treasure, their 50%. And this legal dispute spanned for over 30 years. Colombia's courts did rule in their favor. But a 1994 report from the Colombian government said no shipwreck was found at or near the coordinates SSA provided. And in 2011 and 2015, US federal courts dismissed the company's claim for ownership of the treasure. But then, in a bizarre twist of history repeating itself, Spain got herself thrown into the mix. Colombia now had Spain to worry about, who were claiming that they never relinquished their right to the warship. It was, after all, a Spanish galleon. The Spanish foreign minister even told the press that Spain was prepared to defend its rights at the UN if necessary, putting it as bluntly as, if this cannot be resolved on friendly terms, Colombia must understand that we will claim it and defend our rights. However, as it turns out, it wasn't just Spain's rights that had to be considered. The Bolivian indigenous nation Cara Cara, whose lands the Spanish extracted most of their riches from, were now demanding the return of the treasure that was once stolen from them. This made a complicated situation even more complicated, and Colombia was in dispute with not one, but 3 other countries. Which begs the question, what happened to the Spanish galleon and where is it now? Unfortunately, It is still laying undisturbed at the bottom of the ocean, with its precise location being classified top secret and guarded by Colombia's Navy. Over the years, Colombia's Ministry of Culture has been carrying out many studies to examine the right methods of careful extracting of the ship's contents. The San Jose has incredible historical meaning. Colombia's Minister of Culture stated the idea that to stop considering that we are dealing with a treasure that we have to fight over as if we were in colonial times, with the pirates who disputed these territories. Also remarking that the value of the wreck is patrimonial and not monetary, saying history is the treasure. Spain's ambassador to Colombia recently claimed that the country is open for a bilateral agreement on the protection of the wreck, and Bolivia has now asked for the return of only a few pieces from the ship as a symbolic and spiritual gesture, honoring their ancestors. But Sea Search Armada is not so open to forgive and forget. In 2022, they began another legal battle with Colombia. The case is, as of this publication, ongoing with no results yet. And without a clear outcome, it will likely further delay the excavation of the San Jose. If you don't want to stop watching now, here are 2 more videos for you to consider for your next watch.